And welcome. Our top story at this hour, the ongoing Taliban crisis and the collapse of the civil government has triggered an environment of fear and uncertainty in Afghanistan. Many world leaders and human rights defenders have started to call out the Taliban regime, which they say will unleash humanitarian crisis and bring in atrocities on women. The latest addition to the list is Nobel Peace Prize winner and rights activist Malala Yousafzai. During a panel discussion on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, Malala said that the global community cannot make compromises on the protection of women's rights in Afghanistan. She also called out the global action to protect the right of education for Afghan girls trapped in the region.
We cannot make compromises on the protection of women's rights and on the protection of human dignity. This is a commitment that the UN has made, that they are there to work for the protection of, human dignity of a human person. So now is the time that we stick to that commitment and ensure that the rights of Afghan women are protected. And one of those important rights is the right to education. We know that education is a human right of all children. We also know that it improves our societies. It brings more peace and harmony. We also know that it has economic advantages.
When asked about whether Pakistan could put pressure on the Taliban regarding women's rights, Malala said that Pakistan needs to make bold commitments towards protection of human rights in Afghanistan in order to maintain harmony in the region.
Pakistan should see the situation in Afghanistan not just as a peace and security issue for Afghanistan alone, but as a peace and security issue for the whole region, including Pakistan. Because peace in Afghanistan means peace in Pakistan. So far we have heard some statements from the Prime Minister of Pakistan that the women's rights must be protected, that girls' education must be protected. But I hope that Pakistan can show a bold and strong commitment towards the protection of human rights in Afghanistan.
Several world leaders promised to work for the rights of Afghan women and girls at the annual UN gathering this week, but no concrete solution has been formulated so far. During the previous Taliban rule, women were not allowed to study or work and were even denied basic human rights. While the hardline Islamist group has now promised a different approach this time, many fear that these promises are just mere words. Taliban has already imposed a dress code and gender segregation for women at private universities and colleges in Afghanistan. Female students, teachers and staff have been asked to wear niqab and burqa in order to get access inside educational institutions. The newly installed Taliban regime has also banned Afghan women from playing cricket and other sports. Their all-male government has also shut down the former administration's Ministry of Women's Affairs. They have replaced it with a department notorious for enforcing strict religious doctrine. Meanwhile, the so-called Education Ministry has said that schools will only reopen for boys. This effectively sidelines women from getting the education that they were promised.